Moms talk about things that affect moms in general. The mommy entrepreneurs, we are the moms that handle business, and that means a lot. Remember, Entrepremommies.
Hello, and welcome to the Entrepremommies Podcast. I am Tiffy T, the Resellqueen.
And I'm Nicole Flamer. How you doing?
Hey, Nikki.
Hello.
Long time no see.
I know, right? It's been a while.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's so funny how this whole thing works. You know, I was just thinking the other day how when we first started this, how we were like, don't know how everyone's going to feel with us not being in the same room.
Yeah.
And using Zoom and all that type of stuff. And then the pandemic happened. And major network shows were using Zoom, sort of like what we're doing. We don't use Zoom anymore because we've done upgraded to StreamYard. and it's like funny, like now we're just all so used to it. You know, so it's not even a big thing for anyone. So how are your businesses going this week?
Oh, my businesses are doing pretty good. I think I'm starting to see the first, Christmas shoppers stroll in a little bit. So I've had an increase in sales last week and starting off pretty good this week. So things are looking good. I'm still not like fully present. This is just a drop ship. I just got to make sure I go in and put the orders in. I did get some oil sales on Mercari and yeah, so that's good. But sometimes I was not expecting them. So I still don't have like my laboratory set up yet to do oils and stuff. And I'm trying to actually do some like pop-up shops and some like Christmas, like the church Christmas type things. I want to set up some tables and get rid of some of my oils because usually I do inventory at the end of the year. And that's when I determine what I'm going to buy for the next year and stuff. And I like to kind of start clean if I can. And I'd like to, kind of sell out. That's my goal. So
I feel you.
Yeah. But I'm thinking I'm going to do some candles. That's where I'm thinking. I'm going to do some large candles.
Okay.
Because they require a lot of oil. And that's one way for me to use up my inventory this year. So that's what I'm thinking. Just got to find a good marketing strategy for them. So,
that's not bad. Yeah. So this week has been the week of, I call them my clearance sales. My stale inventory is just moving. The stuff that did not move all year, now it's moving.
Yes.
I put things on sale. Like I'm at a point now with some of the things. I'm like, I'm not even making profit on these. I know I'm not, but I'm selling so much that dollar profit that I'm making because I had 20 sales. It's like, oh, you made $20 profit. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. It's like that along with my regular stuff that's selling. So that brings a higher profit for me. So that's kind of where my weekend has been. Like, it's funny. I ran out of, I can't say I ran out of, I should just say I got low on my normal inventory. So I assumed that this weekend was not going to be as many sales.
Okay.
Because I always find for some of the products that I have, I think it's just the way I order and how they show up. Because normally I order towards the beginning of the week. They normally show up at the end of the week. So my weekend is always full of sales.
Right.
And sometimes I even sell out over the weekend, which that happens a lot. I sell out of certain products. So I assumed that this weekend was not going to be one of those type of weekends because I was a little bit later in submitting my orders. And I was like, oh, this will be restful. Well, this weekend I sold a lot of stale product.
Okay.
A lot of the product that is from another wholesaler that sells well, but sells slower.
Okay.
And so I got lots of those. And then I still even got things that sold on other platforms that I'm like, oh yeah, I'm still on there.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So I had some Poshmark sales over the weekend, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm still on Poshmark!" Like I had to go, I mean, I know it's because everything's so automated. I have it set up that way that I was like, "Oh, Poshmark sale, cool," and so even now I have orders I still need to package up, but I even have orders that I have to go to my storage to take out because that's how old that stuff is. It's in the storage. So I'll be getting those things out tonight. And then this whole time period for me is I'm trying to get my schedules right.
Yes.
Because when you start into the holiday season, especially with my I should say my families, because I'm married. So I have my family, my husband's family. And with my husband's family, that's split because his parents are divorced. So I have three different sets of grandparents, because I also have great grandparents.
Right.
On his side as well. So I'm trying to schedule and make sure that I got everyone's time period, because everyone, when you have the young kid, everyone wants to see the young kid, and I also decided I am going to give my youngest child a birthday party.
Oh, right. That's right. Okay.
And he's never had one.
Really?
He's never had one because his birthday is so close to Christmas.
Yeah.
He kind of looks like, for him, I'm glad he has this attitude. He looks at December as like, that's the greatest month. Because that's the birthday. So he gets birthday presents. And then 2 weeks later, it's Christmas. So he gets Christmas presents. So he's like, this is the best month ever, but I kind of always feel bad because he's never had like a singled out day that was for him like other kids get. And been to birthday parties now pre-COVID, everything before COVID. And he's like, oh, this is what a birthday party's like.
I think I might want one of these.
I want one of these. I mean, of course, we do ice cream and cake, of course, and all of that, stuff. But he's never had like a whole celebration day just for him. So I set that up, and I'm like, gosh, this is so close to Christmas, but I don't care. I don't care about presents. I just want him to be able to say, oh, I had a birthday party. My birthday party was at such and such, and I had a good time. So praying that goes smoothly and well, because, we're still in the age of COVID. So everyone still has to wear masks. Right now I have a person that we went to high school right now. Their child is in the hospital.
Really?
With COVID. Yes.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So I just saw on Facebook before we came on here. I was like, okay, let's say a little prayer for them, So it's out here. It's still real.
Yeah. Well, what do you think? They've got the vaccines ready. How are you feeling about them?
I don't know.
For the kids.
I don't know for the kids. Well, I already got my shot.
Right.
I got both my shots. I got them. And I got them because I saw the writing on the wall that if I wanted to travel, I'm going to need my shots.
That's right. No limitations. Yeah.
Right. Because I already saw what was happening. Yeah. You saw like different people that I follow. One person I follow, they I don't want to say they're entrepreneur, but they're more of a they are gig worker.
Okay.
And so they can work from anywhere as long as they got the internet. So they decided they were going to go to Jamaica in the middle of quarantine. They were like, get this. And they put their experience on Instagram, and they were like, oh, Jamaica ain't playing with us.
No, they are not.
Like, they were like, we need your cell phone number. They tested her when she got off the plane. Like, they were not playing at all. So I was like, okay, if I want to go out of the country or even to another state, I know I have to get the jab. I already saw it coming.
Yeah.
I know that it's not 100%.
Right.
We didn't have enough time to make it 100%. It's not like, what do you call it? Rubella or whatever. I have no idea what that even is, but I know I'm immune to it because I got the immunization when I was a kid. So obviously that particular immunization I know is probably 100%. Well, actually I already know because when I had when you have your kids, they pull up like all your health history,
Mm-hmm.
I had this whole report of all the things that I had and that
Yeah.
everything I was immune. I was like, oh, I didn't know they did all that when I had my last kid. So I was like, what is rubella? And the doctor was like, oh, you've been vaccinated. That's what that means. That's why it says immune. I was like, oh.
Okay.
So I know that it's not 100%.
Mm-hmm.
But I know enough to know that everything in the medical world, especially when it came to this, as time goes by, they know more.
Right.
You know, if you think about the AIDS epidemic.
Oh yeah.
Okay, when that first came news, you thought you got AIDS by kissing.
Oh my God, I was so scared of AIDS. Like I didn't even want to sit on public toilets. I was like, I was definitely afraid. In the movies that they had out at the time,
I was scared. Okay. You know, it made you very scared. You know, it was like, oh, if you touch, and then AIDS actually affected my family. I had an uncle that was infected with AIDS. He ultimately passed away when I was younger, and I got to watch it.
Yeah.
But I think that was helpful to see that, okay, I didn't get sick because he got sick. Right. You know, I was able to go in his hospital room, but there was a lot of things they didn't know in the beginning. So, but now a person gets HIV, they're like, oh, I just take a drug every day. And I mean, look at magic.
Yes. People are living with it. Yeah.
People are living with it. It's now something that is controllable. It's not like what was really considered a death sentence.
Oh, definitely.
At the time. And that's because of the time that medical professionals have taken to it to learn and to study and develop things for it. We didn't have that type of time at COVID because too many people were dying. Yeah. They're like, we got to do something.
Yeah.
So I know that it's not 100%. And I know I still take precautions.
Right.
Because just if you follow what the CDC has said, the CDC has basically said, okay, if you got this particular vaccine, the Moderna or the Pfizer, you're going to need a booster in like 6 months.
Right.
And they're like, if you got the J&J, you need a booster in 2 months. It's like, well, you might as well just got the 2 shots.
Yeah.
From the get-go.
Yeah.
No, because I was always thinking, okay, maybe they'll just do the J&J for kids because that's 1 shot. You know, but now from what I understand, and like I said, I'm not a medical professional. I'm just going off of CBS News because that's what I be watching in the morning. It's a smaller dosage of the vaccine.
Yeah.
So my son's school district, they did hold, but this is before it was approved for kids his age. They did hold a vaccine clinic, but this is before it was his age. So I don't know if they are going to do the same thing or not. So I know, actually, as we're talking, our first lady is going to a school district in my state. Because it was the first school district to give out the polio vaccine.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And they are having a clinic today to give kids between 5 and 12 vaccines today. And she's going there today. Yeah. So I'm not sure, to be quite honest. But then again, you know, I went through my timeline and I see a person, their child is hospitalized right now. You know, they have an immune compromised child and their child is hospitalized. So I'm like, okay, maybe you look at that and you're like, you should do your part. Right. But then again, it's like there's so many things we don't know.
Right. Yeah.
You know, we know enough to say it can help, but we don't know enough to say, can it harm you?
Right. Well, you know, I'm not a big fan of vaccines. I mean, I haven't been for a while, but I did get my COVID vaccine primarily because I just saw like all the promotion of it. And I was just like, you know, hair in my mouth. I saw the promotion of it. And I was like, okay, whatever's going on, because there's all these different theories out there, whatever's going on, like they have put all this time and energy and money into this rollout. And I felt like whatever they're trying to like stave off with all this is, you know, I'm just gonna get the vaccine. Plus, I was living with my parents who are in their 60s, close to 70s, and they were on susceptible. And so I made the decision, and a lot of people that I told, knowing my stances on vaccines in general in relationship to my kids, were like kind of shocked. But I was just like, you live and you learn, you grow, you make your decisions. Like nothing is black and white, everything is gray areas. You can't just like, um, whatever was happening or whatever mindset I might have had in the past has evolved into something different. I kind of look at my health, and I look at my my children's health, and I say, I try to be positive and optimistic about what's going on. I try to be, give them masks and try to keep them safe. So I ended up signing up for vaccines for them, like for next week. I'm not sure if we'll still go or not. I'm still weighing it. I presented it to them, the twins anyway.
Okay.
My son is vaccinated, but my two older daughters are not. Mainly logistic wise, because I don't see how I'm gonna get them to sit down with a needle coming at them.
And I'm beyond, well, and the way it go in, girl.
Yes.
If you ain't got a good person, like
right.
the first person that did mine, he grabbed my fat and put it in that way. The second person was like, bam. I was like,
yes,
like,
that's what I got too. Yeah. So
that's tough.
Yeah. So the younger ones, I said, what do y'all think about the COVID vaccine? Mainly because they talk about it a lot. They're very aware and they're very scared of it. I mean, we'll be out grocery shopping, and somebody will cough, and they're like, COVID, get away, like everybody who coughs around them has COVID. And I'm like, don't do that. It's rude.
They don't care.
They don't care. They're like,
I've met your twins. They don't care.
They run in the other directions. They don't care if they hurt your feelings or not. They're gone. So I asked them how they felt about getting vaccinated, and they were like, my one daughter's like, no. And the other daughter's like, I'm not sure. They're not too keen on the whole shot aspect of it. And, but they're also not too keen on the COVID aspect of it. So we'll see if we get to the appointment next week or not. I'm not sure. I try not to, I have spent different times when it comes to vaccines. People are very judgmental and very, they take their sides, like they're either this or that. I'm more of a middle path type of person when it comes to things, because I have my opinions on things, and I try not to hit people over the head with them, because I don't think it's fair. I think people should be able to develop their own, everybody's experience is not similar. So there are parents that don't have the same experiences with vaccines that I've had in the past. So they don't understand where I'm coming from. And then also, I'm not saying, I won't say I don't understand where they're coming from, because a lot of times I do. But when you have a diametrical opposed opinion to what everybody else has, you learn how to talk about it so that you don't end up either getting yelled at. I mean, I've had conversations with doctors, arguments with doctors. I've had arguments with family and friends and stuff. And so I try not to talk about it. I try not to, but I feel like on Entreprenemommies, I feel like I want to be real with our audience, because I'm sure there's people out there that are struggling with the decisions of what to do. And I want to be real. I don't want to be like, I don't like vaccines, and I got one, so, I'm either
that says a lot, actually.
Right. It's right.
That says a lot.
So, I'm either a hypocrite, or I'm confused, or I've just taken the stance of, I'm going to do it, and I'm just going to be optimistic that it's not going to hurt me. And I'm kind of feeling that same way with the kids. Like when my son got it, he's fine. His side effects, I think he slept the rest of that day afterwards. And he was fine. Yeah. So, but you got to make an informed decision.
You got to make an informed decision for yourself, and I think the thing that makes it, that pushes me more towards my son is probably going to get the vaccine, is chicken pox and COVID are two different things.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Chickenpox. I mean, I'm not saying that there has never been a death from chickenpox because that I do not know. I'm pretty sure someone could probably find
something. Find something
somewhere. Yeah. However, I got chickenpox and didn't die.
Right, me too.
When I was a kid,
I got chickenpox and I got vaccinated for chickenpox.
Oh, really?
Yes.
All my friends at school got chickenpox. You know, I know so many. My mom has had chickenpox. You know.
Yeah.
But COVID, I know people that have died from it.
Right.
And I think that for me is what the difference. And I think if you come in, I think that's where the difference comes in for some people when it comes to COVID is because for some people, if you have a personal relationship or know of a personal relationship where COVID has affected them, I think it changes your perspective.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, because I got chickenpox and didn't have to go to the hospital, but people are getting COVID and have to go to the hospital.
Right. Well, last year, probably about this time of year, my dad was hospitalized for COVID. He had COVID and pneumonia, and he was in the hospital for 3 weeks and came home with an oxygen tank, came home with a visiting nurse, came home with medication and complications. He really was so weak. I mean, so he was in the hospital for 3 weeks. And then even after that, he spent another probably 2 months just recovering from, his lungs were still weak. Like I said, he's still walking around with the oxygen tank, a portable oxygen tank and stuff. And then just his whole demeanor, he just weakened in general. He had pre-existing conditions that made him more susceptible. But like when you see something like that, it's very scary. You want to take it seriously. You don't want to, that's when kind of conspiracy theory kind of goes out the window when you're looking at it.
And your dad is a get up and go person. I know your dad.
Yeah,
your dad isn't just chilling in some rocking chair somewhere.
Right. Yeah.
Your dad's like, all right, I got a whole list of things need to get done today. Let's get up. Let's get ready to go. That's your dad. So to know that changed his whole daily life, that changes your perspective.
It definitely does.
Because your dad's an entrepreneur. That's what he does. He's on the go all the time, So to know that explains, your position. Because, like I said, sometimes it's all about your experiences. And I have a feeling that the new mandate that came down, there was a mandate that came down from the Biden administration about if you have 100 employees or more for a vaccine mandate. Well, it went through the courts process.
Right.
And now there is a halt on it.
Yeah.
I think this is something that's going to go to the Supreme Court.
I think so too.
I think it's going to go to the Supreme Court. And I also think it's going to be something that's going to be a big political thing. Yeah. Which it irks me that public health is now politics.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's our country though. Our country is all about you get to make your freedoms. Right. In our country, I can say I don't like our president. Right. And you know what? I will not be put into prison for saying that. Right. If I act upon that, that's different. Right. But there are other countries where you speak against the government, we don't hear from you ever again.
No, right. Yeah.
So we do have those freedoms, but these are the prices of those freedoms. That because I have the freedom to choose, you have the freedom to choose. Because of some of our choices, some people do get hurt.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's, either you live here or you go to another country.
Right.
And
people are dying to get here.
Yeah. Literally. Literally.
Yeah. People are dying to get here. So
regardless of how bad we talk about as a people for our country as Black people, and it's so funny. We're like not even on the topics we were talking about today, but I think it's good. America ain't that bad.
No.
Now, do we got some issues we need to take care of?
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But if you want to make something out of yourself, start from zero, start from nothing,
Mm-hmm.
and have a huge empire. Or even if you don't want to have a huge empire, you just want to sit nice, have no worries,
Mm-hmm.
you can do that here.
Yes.
You have those opportunities here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, 5 to 12, I'm going to say an hour on the internet, setting up a website and
Mm-hmm.
getting social media together.
Mm-hmm.
You could do that for 1 hour and start making money within the next hour.
That's very true. Yes. Yep.
Now, I'm not saying it's easy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say you don't have to put some work and some time in,
Right.
or do a little bit of research so that you understand how to do that. But you have those capabilities in our country to do that.
Right. Yeah. And I have a friend. I mean, you know this through podcasting. You meet people from all over the world.
Oh,
because when you're broadcasting either on YouTube or Facebook or on any podcast platform, that goes out and can be heard by so many people. It's such a really great connective tool. So I happened to meet one of my listeners from my other show from India. And
wow.
yeah. And we've been friends for about almost, I guess, about a year. But it's so interesting to hear his life because the reason why he had even contacted me was just that he was feeling really down about his circumstance. And he's in India and they still do arranged marriages there. So, but his mother is sick and she's not able to do whatever she needs to do in order to get him married. So therefore he can't get married. He's not an eligible bachelor. He's not because of his mother, because of his family. Now, like class wise, he's not necessarily like low class. He's like working class, like farmers. That's where they are. But because of his mom not being able to do the mom duties needed for him to get married, he's pretty much not going to get married unless he goes to another country, unless he goes to another situation. So it shocks me because I can't imagine. And I'm like, well, if you come to America, you can marry whoever you want to marry. Nobody's really going to care, whether your mom did what she needed to do. But his problem is that he's still very traditional culturally. So he still loves his Indian culture. But when you're on the outs of the culture, when you're the black sheep of it, so to speak, you can't reap the benefits of it. And so he's looking at a future where he's never going to get married, according to him. And I'm like, whatever, we don't believe in that. We don't right. The situation like that. Yeah.
And he can get on that 90 Day Fiance show. He'll find somebody.
Yeah. Well, I partially think he's trying to rope me in. So,
girl, you can be on the show.
Girl, I was like, I am twice his age. I'm like, I said, you're welcome to listen, but we're not getting married. So,
oh, shoot, girl.
I'm bringing my husband over. But But it's just interesting. I love hearing about people's different cultures and stuff. And here's another tidbit. He owns a farm in India. So Indian government has it so that their farms are controlled. So, for example, you own a piece of land. If they've determined that your land best grows rice, corn, fidget widgets, whatever, that's what you have to grow. You can't choose what you want to grow. So let's say you wanted to grow coffee or something, or you wanted to grow lavender or flowers or whatever. Your land has to be allotted for that. So for example, his land that he owns, he can only grow rice, corn, and some other like food staples on there. He can't grow, because I was like, well, can you grow something like coffee? Because I'm thinking business minded, like right. A direct line to a farm. He could be growing me my flowers for my oils, some lavender and stuff, and I'm in business, right? And I can get a discount or whatever. So he said no. Yeah, that's right. That's right. I'm like, let's do a trade. We can work together. So, but in America, could you imagine telling a farmer that they couldn't grow what they wanted to grow? I mean, aside from the technical aspects of what, I mean, we grow wine in Pennsylvania. I mean, you know what I'm saying? But could you imagine if somebody said, "Oh, no, you can't grow wine in Pennsylvania. You can only grow tobacco, or you can only grow corn here." So we have a lot of freedoms and a lot of things at our disposal that other people, and they don't question it because that's the way it is.
That's the law.
That's the law. That's the way.
What they're going to do? Change it? They
right.
might not.
Our process here, even with talking about mandates for businesses, for people to have vaccines in businesses, the fact that we can even challenge that and go to the court system and it can be challenged. I mean, that's what makes our country so special. So
I agree.
Yeah.
We kind of got on a whole nother tangent.
I know we didn't talk about anything on our list, but
you know what? We're talking about what's going on today.
Yeah.
Is there are businesses that are contemplating, do we go back inside? Do we do a hybrid method? As you know, what I'm doing right now, everything I do is work from home. I was doing work from home before it was a thing.
Right.
And that's how I'm working. So I've been doing this before COVID. Right. But now companies, they're kind of like in limbo.
Right.
Like I think about my husband's job. It's like every 3 months they put out something and then it's like, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I mean, they're saying it in corporate speak, right. We'll see what happens in the next couple months or whatever, and we'll make more decisions at that time. Now, for what he does, it doesn't really matter because he doesn't sit in the office. He works outside. But they have a lot of jobs that require you to be in the office because of what they do. Certain jobs they have you can't do from home.
Right.
So it's becoming a thing. So it's becoming a thing that even a small business has to start to think about. And then when you think about that, what are your coverages for liabilities? So like I think of liabilities. If you think about this weekend, Astroworld. Okay. So if you haven't heard about this, Astroworld is a festival that is given by Travis Scott. He's like the headliner, and I believe he's from Houston, Texas, which is where this happened. Because I think it's like at the Astroville or somewhere in Houston.
Right.
Well, he has, I want to say, a reputation of chaos at his shows.
Okay.
Now, I am not like the world's biggest Travis Scott fan. I'm even trying to figure out, is there a song that I know that he's on? And I know that I know a song that he's on. It's just, he's not who I go to on my playlist.
Right.
So I just know he's with one of those Kardashians.
Right.
Jenners. He's one of their baby daddies. That's what I know him for. Horrible thing that's what I know him for. But anyway.
Yes.
There was a show, his performance, I should say, at the festival turned deadly.
Yeah.
Not him himself, but there was a lot of chaos in the crowd. And there were some fatalities that happened. I believe from the last report that I heard, there was at least 10 deaths.
Oh, okay.
And there were at least a couple hundred people in the hospital.
Yeah.
And they're still trying to sort out what happened.
Yeah.
Because I saw like the local police chief talk about one of the security guards thought they were picked in the neck. So now the narcotics group is involved.
Yeah.
To find out if that was something that was happening, because there were a lot of people that were hospitalized for cardiac issues.
Okay.
So that is kind of off. Now, I was listening to this on the radio. My husband and I, we were out this weekend, doing our regular stuff. And my husband, he is a firefighter. He doesn't do it now because the way that he works, but he's a firefighter and he's been a trained EMT.
Okay.
And the first thing he said when he heard that report, he said, "That's a substance."
Okay.
He was like, yeah, you may have people that pass out at events and things like that. You know, they're so excited. But he was like, cardiac issues in that many people. He said, that's a substance.
Right.
He was like, I bet we'll hear something more. And then later that night, that's when I saw the report with the with the Houston PD.
Right.
Police chief was talking about that, but they are saying they're still investigating. They're not saying this is the cause,
right?
Because they really don't know, you know. And I was surprised something like this was going on with COVID, but then I'm like, oh, it's Texas, so they do stuff like that. You know, they're going to have a large event.
The one article I'm reading said that he performed for 37 minutes after officials declared the concert a mass casualty incident. So that's like a lot of people are saying, why would you continue to perform for 37 minutes? Now, I mean, 37 minutes, it's not like it's not an hour. I mean, if it's confusion, like, I mean, I've been in situations where things were happening around me and I did not notice them until well after. And then somebody will say, did you see that person fell out? And it's like, no, I did not notice. Yeah. I barely notice what's going on in general. Like, so, but, you know, in a circumstance like Travis Scott was in, you have stage crew, stage managers, security. So somebody had to, I mean, they wear earpieces. So somebody had to have said, hey, we have something going on down here. Let's shut it down. So that looks like that attorneys are looking at that tidbit as reason for suing him, I guess, to say that he exacerbated things, I'm guessing, because he didn't shut down his set. So I don't know.
He's been arrested in the past for inciting a riot. And I don't know if that was in the States or in another country, but he's been arrested in the past for that because he's known for, I want to say, for lack of a better term, like, you know, like you've seen on TV, like these punk rock shows where they just start doing all crazy type of stuff on stage. He's known for that. Yeah. So, you know, some conservative places might be like, oh no, he's inciting a riot. You know, so he already has that reputation, which is not helpful for him. Right. You know, of course, you know, for an event like this, they're going to have insurance. Right. But how much is that insurance really going to cover? That insurance isn't going to cover criminal charges. Right. No. How much financial are they going to cover? Now, one of the performers at the show is actually going to help pay for funerals. Oh, okay. He put something on his I can't remember the name. I want to type. What is it? Dave Grohl, I think Dave Grohl from what's not Foo? Is it Foo Fighter? I forget. I hate to sound all old fashioned, but I think it was David Grohl. Okay. I thought there was also a rapper that said he wanted to. Let me see if it pops up. Yeah. No, that I don't know. I don't even know how this dude's name got in my mouth. Let's see. Because I saw it on Instagram because you know how the Shade Room. Roddy Rich, that's his name. I couldn't think of his name. He's a rapper. He's gonna donate his pay for his performances to the victims' families to cover funeral expenses. Okay. So, Roddy Rich, I see it. And it wasn't his set, but he feels some type of I don't want to say liability, but he feels some type of way that he's like, I have to do my part. Help out, yeah. Oh, hold on. Let me see.
To the ones that was lost last night.
Oh, yeah.
We're actually working.
You can share your screen if you want to.
Are you pulling that out? Oh, that's me. Oh, hold on.
So we can help assist them through this.
Where is that? How do?
You know, my fans.
I'm gonna just turn it off because I can't pull it up properly because it's got a big bar on it because I have a
Oh,
before.
okay. Yeah, that sounds like that was at Travis Scott. He went live.
Oh, did he really? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
he went live and kind of like
there's the
said,
share.
I didn't know what was going on. Kylie Jenner made a statement that she was backstage and he didn't know what was going on. And had he known, things would have stopped sooner, that type of thing, standing by her man.
Right.
And,
yeah.
So honestly, I really didn't need to hear from her, but she felt that she needed to. So, but
that's why Dave Grohl is in my my mind. He helped an autistic person.
Oh.
Yes, he said, in light of the tragic Astroworld deaths, here's a clip of Dave Grohl stopping a Foo Fighters show in its tracks to help out an autistic child in the crowd. Now, I don't think this was there. I think they were just
showing examples what could have been done.
What could have been done.
What didn't happen. Versus what didn't happen.
Yes, that's why he was in my feed. But with that,
well, I think about years ago. Remember, we went to a Sia concert.
Yes.
And I don't know what happened, but remember, she stopped the show.
Yep.
Because two people were either arguing or something was on, and she got them kicked right on out.
Yes.
And then after that got handled, she went right back into her set. Yes. I was a little mad though, because she went to the next song and didn't finish the song because of them two suckers.
Right.
But now keep in mind, we were in a very small venue when we saw Sia. But but she was like, oh, something's going on. She shut it all down.
Right.
And security was like, oh, Sia said do something. That's what they did.
Mm-hmm.
That it's hard to put blame of where all the blame, because I don't feel like Travis Scott should get all the blame for that. He's a performer and he's going through his set.
That's right. And a lot of times when you're on stage, you can't really see what's going on out because of the lights.
It's just lights.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
So
it's
lights. Possible he didn't even notice what was going on. But then his crew, though,
right.
Something could be said. I mean, I'm sure a very good lawyer can figure out a way to implement, put it on him in some way, because he's ultimately going to have to take responsibility either for himself or for what his crew didn't do, how they didn't react. And there's going to be a lot of people that get sued from this. And it's unfortunate because, you think about the people who's lost family members, the deaths, they said the age range was from 14 to 27. So, there's children who died. I mean, because I consider anybody under 18 a child.
I'm with you. Yeah.
But, so that's somebody's going to want their pound of flesh for that, for their family member who didn't make it from this situation. And they'll find a way to blame the deep pockets,
Of course, the deep pocket is where they're going to go.
Yeah. So it's a sad situation. And I think it's, in the world that we live in today with concerts and stuff, there's, you sign all kinds of waivers when you buy concert tickets, especially something like that where they don't want to be held responsible. It's at your own risk. I mean, because anything could happen. I mean, a shooter could come out and start shooting. I mean, it's very hard to control that many people in a confined area. So, it's sad all around. But what are you gonna do?
Exactly.
So,
wow, that was a lot of stuff.
We kind
of went over. So
yeah.
But one thing for your business that we always talk about, because everyone needs it in their business, and it's called nav.com. Nav.com helps you with creating your business credit, which is so essential. It helps you with your personal credit, it helps you with your business credit. You can start with the free account, or you can get one that you pay for every month. And it's a very small tax deductible expense.
Yes.
Nav.com.
I don't know if we ever mentioned this before, but if you pay for it, they become and you use it for your business, they become a credit line for you. A reporting
like a trade line.
Line, thank you, trade line for you. So that helps with your overall business credit growth. So I mean, jewelry's still out. Like I just started paying for it a couple of months ago, and they started reporting to like Dun and Bradstreet that they're a trade line for me. Like I said, jewelry's still out. I haven't seen much help from that yet, but I know it's something that you need when you're legitimizing your business. So, I mean, that in of itself is worth noting and worth having, especially if, like for my business, I don't have that many relationships. I have the same suppliers and stuff, and they're my starting suppliers. So at some point, when I experience a level of growth that needs me to negotiate for something, for them to be a trade line for me, an actual trade line type supplier, I don't have that many. So when that happens, great. But having NAB kind of step in and be like my first one, so to speak, it helps. So I'm hoping it helps. Like I said, I'll let everybody know if I get like a couple $100,000 loan as a result. I'll let everybody know if it was beneficial. So far, so good. It hasn't been detrimental. Let's put it that way.
That's good. Yeah, that's all that matters when it comes to credit, especially for your business. Because when you can start putting things in your business credit, it's the burden, and not just that for your thing. The things that you have are cars or business, you personally don't have those liabilities. It changes your DTI.
Yes.
It works all around.
Yeah.
Just saying. So that's nab.com. So let's see. We have just a little bit more time. Let's see. Moving on to, I'm trying to think here. What's the best thing to talk about? So,
talk about the Torrid thing. That's pretty interesting.
Actually, that is kind of interesting. So, I want to say Torrid. It's TORRID. That is of course, it's on my lexicon because they are a plus size retailer. So I know all about their clothes. Okay.
I've ordered from them myself too. Yes.
Yeah, and actually I kind of like their clothes a little bit more because they're more younger driven than some of the size makers. Some of the plus size makers, it's like so there's this girl. I'll share her face on here because she's put herself out here. So her name is Hannah. She's a top influencer, and she is a influencer, say, for fashion. Okay. And she talks about plus size fashion. So I don't want to say she did rant, but she talked about the most recent fashion choices of Torrid. And she gave a little TikTok about it. It gave constructive criticism, but fat people don't want to just we want things to be fashionable. And she gave how she felt about it on her TikTok. Well, what ended up happening was about the same day or so, someone contacted her regular employer and tried to get her fired.
Wow.
So, so this is her face, all of her information there. So she took that really hard, obviously, because whatever, I don't know what her career is, but she made a statement
see that she mentioned it.
is to me. Why would someone try to get me fired because my payment? And it kind of blew a little. And Torrid they didn't say they did it or didn't do it. They just kind of said that social media is a place to to have discussions and things like that. They didn't really, in my opinion, they kind of sidestepped it. So I want to pull up what Torrid had to say here on the screen. Okay.
It seems like they're kind of taking the stance that they aren't responsible for what happened. Like they're saying like they didn't report it. they didn't contact her employer, and basically saying to their community, don't bully, don't which is
right.
interesting,
that
yeah, it says we always welcome respectful conversation and would not and have not taken action against anyone for sharing an opposing opinion, including contacting individuals' employers. So they said they didn't do it.
And I mean,
right.
Kind of have if like a yeah, this is that other Hannah, this is her post. Someone contacted her job to get her fired. And so so Torrid put that social media is a space where all voices can be heard. I feel like they kind of probably felt pressured to do that because
definitely
their mentions on social media went up. Actually she didn't have to.
Right.
She didn't. In her response about what happened, she put in quotations someone, but it's implied.
Right.
But she didn't have to, which I think is a smart thing. She didn't come out and say so and so did this. It was someone did this.
Right.
So everyone else that responded to it, all the other commenters, they put things in, which is the smart way to do it because she didn't say a corporation contacted. She said someone. Right. So it's kind of, if you're in the situation of Torrid, that's how can I put it? They're kind of damned if you do, damned if they don't.
Right.
Because even if no one associated with them did anything to try and get this girl fired from her regular job, they're still going to always be blamed.
Right. Right.
I think in a offer of maybe good faith, maybe try and contact her and say, you gave us some really good feedback and information. Help us.
Right. Right.
That to me is the way you come out of that.
Yes, just put a spin on it. Yeah, because the damage is done as far as what her followers, she has something like over 200,000 followers. And she's an influencer, which means that pretty much people who follow her, if she says that, or she intimates that Torrid may have had a role in her personal life with her regular job, those people are most likely going to believe her. And they're most likely going to respond in kind, either by pulling their dollars, by flooding Torrid's, DMs with, hey, what's wrong with you? I'll never, because that's what one of the examples in the article says. is one of her followers who says they'll never get another dime from me. So, you know the old adage, it's like one person has a good experience at your with your business, they tell one person. They have a bad experience, they tell 10 people. So she's got 220,000 followers, and we're in millions now with how many people they're sharing with, and they're telling that Torrid is can't take criticism, and they lash out against influencers who criticize them. But I would agree. See, the reason why now I'm going to take an interesting stance on this. Why I suspect that maybe they might have had a role in it is because at a company like that, you have different people working and different people in charge of the social media accounts and different people in charge of different aspects of that whole business. If someone decided that they were taking this extremely personal and wanted to put a call in or do something, Torrid really is not going to necessarily know that. It could be that somebody from the company did do that. Maybe it wasn't sanctioned per se, but it's still a company backlash, because if they work for the company and they called that, then it's going to fall back on the company. I don't think the CEO of the company is sitting there talking about, being petty, being like, you call that person's job, you find out where they live. I don't think that's happening. But your little lower level frontline employees, they want to have some fun. They might do that, if they consider that fun.
Someone who
doesn't have
mature enough to understand.
Right.
That's a no-no.
That's a no-no. Don't do that. Right. Because it's probably not a random person. Nobody is really, on Torrid's side. Like I have clothes that I like. If somebody criticizes the brand, I don't care. I'm not calling their job. I don't care.
Yeah, I don't have that type of time.
I don't have that type of time. So it has to be somebody within that arena who just says, oh, I'll show this girl, that type of thing. Somebody, not, like I said, who might be struggling with maturity. These jobs, becoming a social media marketer or director, all these things, none of these, even though they have formal degrees for these now, a lot of these, you can get these from experience and certificate programs. There's people who have not gone to college and learned some, college is one of those things where a lot of people are questioning the value of it. But where I see the value of it, the difference between like millennials and Generation X or Zers, whatever, whoever's younger than us, okay? Where I see the difference is college teaches you etiquette. It teaches you business know-how. When you do an online certificate program, or if you teach yourself how to code or how to do social media and stuff like that, you're learning that thing. But I learned how to interact in a business environment from internships, from role playing with my classmates, with my teachers, doing practice interviews. Those are all things that you learn in college, in that 4 years as they're building you up for your career. You might learn them on the job, but if let's say you're 19 years old, you got all the skills of a social media manager. You go into a job, they hire you because you can do the work, but you're 19. Do you know how to really talk business? Do you know what's acceptable and what's unacceptable when it comes to what's crossing the line? See, because a 19-year-old does not necessarily see anything wrong with calling somebody's job who ticked them off, right?
Exactly.
But a 22-year-old who's had an internship and a mentor and somebody that says, hey, we don't do that kind of thing, who's had that type of training, they might say, oh, who cares? I'm not going to do that. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, Yeah.
Whereas, us in our 40s, we're like, we ain't got that type of time. If you shut up about it, no one will talk about what she said.
Right. Or
we'll see another influencer to say something great about us tomorrow.
That's right. Or that bad news is good press. You know what I mean? Whether that somebody, at least the fact that this girl did a whole expose on their new line, I mean, indirectly, she just promoted their new line.
Exactly.
So even if she was crapping on it, she still promoted it, showed clips, showed all kinds of stuff, so that if I'm sitting there and I don't agree with the girl, and I'm like, hey, let me go to Torrid. I like that. I'm gonna go hook me up with. So even though she said something negative, they got $100 sale out of me, right?
Exactly.
So that's the nuances that maybe somebody younger might not understand. That skip the training, because they have technical skills but don't have common sense. So
it's I kind of think of it back when I used to work in corporate jobs. I know it's not on the same level, but that's what it brought me to.
Yeah.
When I would look at a resume, and if the person didn't have college, I always looked to see if they had military experience.
Yes.
And I remember explaining this to one of my colleagues, and they were like, why do you look for military experience all the time? I'm like, and there was a reason for it, not just because I have friends and family in the military.
Right.
There's something that you are shown in the military that I just don't know where it's taught at, other than the military, where you are given a task, you do your task. If you need help, you say so. Don't, you don't. And it's just a sense of responsibility that comes with military service, whether you were on the front lines or you were part of the mess hall.
Right.
That that was something that I just can never train.
Right.
And if I always would ask for resumes, like if the person has military experience, I want them. I always did that.
Right.
And I remember just being asked, like, why do you always do that? Are you trying to get preference? I'm like, no, you don't understand. There's something that they learn in the military that I can't teach.
Right.
I've never been in the military. I have family in the military. I have friends in the military. But when they come to work, they come to work. I don't care what they do.
Right.
At 5. But when they come to work, they understand they're coming to work.
Right.
Because 2-3 years ago, they were on a battlefield somewhere and could have been killed.
Right.
So if they didn't pay attention in the classroom,
right,
they could have put a whole bunch of lives at stake on the battlefield. So there was something with military experience. I always looked at that on a person's resume whenever I was hiring.
Right.
And, I don't want to say I gave a preference, because Lord knows I can't say I did that.
Right.
But if they didn't have like the college degree or the actual experience that we were looking for, if they had military experience, they got moved up a little bit more for me.
Right. Yeah.
That's not always the case.
Right.
But I understood the assignment. And the assignment was to get someone that understood the job and that would do the job. Because I always used to tell people, with what I do, I can train you to do the job. I just can't train you to be personable, to be responsible, to be on time. I can't train that, but I can train you to go to the screens and look at that screen when you need this situation, things like that. But there's just certain things you just can't train, and I always felt that way.
Well, you know what I think might be the thing about military experience is that anybody who volunteers to fight for their country, protect their country, they have the capacity to put other people's needs before their own. Because anytime you're putting your life on the line, like you said, regardless of where you are in the military, where you are, what kind of job you have, you're still putting other people's needs before your own, because the military is very structured. It's very authoritative. There's respect. There's all kinds of things. So people learn that. It's drilled into them. But I think there's that compassion too, though, that somebody voluntarily decides to go and put their life down for others. That is something that's you can't teach that. I mean, unfortunately, I see a lot of selfish people in our world today. And, you can tell even when you go into establishments and that you're working, that you're purchasing from somebody, that your customer service level is based on a very selfish mindset. I've had situations where, people have told me, sorry about your luck. Sorry, we can't help. They don't care. They don't care. They don't feel any sort of ownership or compassion or any type of level of service for you and you can tell that. But then you can go some places and sometimes the people, I don't want to crap on our younger generation. They have their benefits. You know what I mean? They have their high points too.
Well,
So
if you think, I think about like Chick-fil-A.
Yes.
Chick-fil-A obviously has a training program that teaches their employees manners.
Yes. Yep.
You can go to any Chick-fil-A and you get my pleasure. Yes, sir. No, sir. They're obviously have something in their training
right
about manners and how to deal with customers that other fast food restaurants do not have included.
No. Yeah. I love Chick-fil-A. I love their, like you said, 90% of the time their staff is amazing. Yeah.
Yes. I've had only one time where like something happened at Chick-fil-A and I was like, oh, went back, got, not only did I get whatever they left out, I got I'm so sorry. Here's something for next time to get for free.
Right.
McDonald's don't do none of that. Okay.
No, they give you their number to call, and sometimes I'll get kicked off that number.
Right. Like, so I have had pleasurable experiences to the point where even if the line is long, I'm going to wait.
Right.
And right now the line is always long at Chick-fil-A.
The line is always long at Chick-fil-A.
Always long at Chick-fil-A.
Yes. Yeah.
But there's a reason why everyone is staying in that line.
Yes, because it's polite. Because
it's polite.
It's quality.
Exactly.
It's clean. I've never been to a dirty Chick-fil-A. I've really never been to a dirty Chick-fil-A.
Never. I always go to their bathroom.
I know. And you can't say that for a lot of establishments. You just really can't. And, so people, I think like organizational development and management and training and stuff, like there's a way that you can do that for your business, especially if you have employees. And I think that what Torrid kind of needs to learn, I'm glad that they put that statement out, but they probably need, to me, they've always been like a majorly online company. I never saw them as a large, I know they probably make millions of dollars because of their market and who they appeal to and stuff, because they fill a niche that a lot of companies ignore. But, maybe they need to kind of go back to the drawing board and with their employees and say, hey, this is out of bounds. And any publicity is good publicity. If this lady is crapping on our new line, send her more clothes. Send her our next line. She's just promoted to 220,000 people. So somebody needs to go back and instill the fundamentals of business to their frontline people who deal with the social media and stuff.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Exactly. So, well, you guys, that has been the show.
Yeah.
We did a good hour, a little over an hour.
Yeah.
So I always think about when people listen to us, we are a good car ride. So I hope that today's show helped you with your business and things to think about with implementing for your business, especially talking about liabilities, the vaccine mandates, even the Torrid's response or non-response,
right?
Whatever you want to call it. These are those little things that I don't think a lot of different people or a lot of business related shows always talk about. It's always about the money game,
right?
Which, don't get me wrong, I'm about my money,
right?
But there's other things that go along with that. Customer service is very important. Very, very important. So hopefully you guys got a little little something out of that,
Right.
as we ramble on these YouTube
Right.
and podcast streets. So I've been Tiffy T, the Resellqueen.
And I'm Nicole Flamer.
And we are Entrepremommies, the mommies that handle business.
Okay.
At Entrepremommies, we share from experience. Moms talk about things that affect moms in general. The mommy entrepreneurs, we are the moms that handle business, and that means a lot.